force over a long period of time.
Oh.
Okay, you okay?
I'm alright, I felt that. But,
You felt it, but
yeah,
you're still here, aren't you?
I'm still here.
How about I put less force than that into it? So this time you won't go back. Okay. This is more impacted.
Big difference.
So you know, I've
big
got
difference.
that. I've got a classic demo that I do. It's on YouTube and stuff, and you know I do it on every foundation course and other courses. And it's to talk about impact dynamics, and to talk about, you know, do you hit and stick and drive through as far as you can, or do you hit and bounce off? So it's a plastic versus elastic energy. What you would
we
call
had
that.
to talk about this today, so this is good. I was talking about this with a student
Right.
today. Yeah.
So that kind of, you know, you're talking about, you know, applying force. Like,
Yeah.
you know, again, I'm not a physics guy, but I know just enough to know what I'm talking about here. You know, all force applied to another body is impulse. You know, you throw in a ball, you're holding that ball, that the entire time that ball's in your hand, you're applying impulse force to it, and then when you finally let it go, it becomes ballistic. We'll talk about ballistic in a minute, yeah. But it becomes ballistic, and now it's under its own power now. It's not powered. It just goes to the target. So it's all about that impulse that you've applied to it to let go. Impact would be if you threw the ball in the air and you hit it with a stick. It's briefly touching, you know. So there's something called the impulse momentum change theorem, right? So, you know, answers on a postcard for this one, but it basically states that the time spent in contact during a collision is inversely proportionate to impact. So the longer you're in contact, the less impact, but the more impulse is being applied.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the short flash pop, there's a higher proportion of impact. Now, impact is part of impulse, but it's easier to think of it as being a separate thing to make it make sense in your brain. Impact versus impulse. It's all the same, but it's an easier way to think about it. And the thing about it is, people will say, yeah, but if you pull your hand back, you're taking power out of the target. And it's like, absolutely correct, because in a pure physics term, you are, because you've stopped the impulse. But the impulse is the wrong kind of power. We don't want that impulse. I don't want to knock you across the room, if you know what I mean, because that means I'm displacing your entire body with my entire force. You know, and we know that because your entire body moved. So, you know, the punch that sends you across the room isn't as good as the punch that sends you to the floor, you know?
Yeah.
Now, we want that local displacement where only the bit I hit moves. So if that was on your body, it means that just the ribs in front of my fist went back, but the rest of you didn't. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Medically, that's a problem for you, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm hitting you on the head, only your head goes back and your body doesn't. That's a problem medically. You know, that's what we're after. I don't want the whole lot of you to move back, because it just means that you've absorbed all my energy with all your body. I don't want that. I want only the bit I hit to absorb the energy, don't I? So the demo I do, as you've seen it, is I'll do both. I'll get usually get a guy to hold a body pad, and the first one, it'll be a big impulsive shot, and I'll send him, you know. I mean, I used to overcook that one in the past. I've had guys on the floor skidding along on their backs, off the feet. I'm no boast, you know, people were there, they can tell you. Or I've had guys behind them, you know, 10 feet behind them, getting ready, and I'll send a guy into him bodily, you know. I'm a big guy, you know, I mean, I can produce a lot of force from that. And everybody will go, ooh, because it's quite, you know, even the guy will be quite stunned usually, because he's never probably been launched that same way, you know. And the second one, though, I'll ask the guy, how do you feel? And he'll go, whew, bit of a shock, you know, powerful, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Good, okay. Next one, I'll use a fraction of the energy, but I'll pop it quick. You know, I use that elastic power where I'm using the actual recoil of hitting the guy to reset my hand, if you know what I mean. And the guy will take half a step back, but I guarantee his face will change, you know, complexion, you know. It's horrible, because you get that huge, horrible shock wave that goes through you, and you're getting that hydrodynamic shock wave of all the fluid in your body is rippling, and all your organs are trying to make way briefly
Yeah.
for that fist that suddenly appeared in your abdomen. You know what I mean? Through the
Yeah.
pad even, and it's horrible, you know. And I used to overdo that sometimes as well. And then you ask the guy, how did that one feel? And he'll say, it's horrible, really bad. Yeah. But the guys in the crowd, in the audience, would usually say, can you show us the first one again?
Yeah.
Because they're impressed by the guy flying back. I'm like, fucking hell. So, you know, even though the guy has literally just said, first one was okay, second one destroyed me, they still want to send a guy across the room.
Yeah.
I've even changed that demo now to the point I don't even throw a punch now. I just slap it with the back of my hand.
Yep.
You know, so one of them I'll move the guy off his feet with a heavy, long slap, and then the next one I'll just flick it, because otherwise people just get seduced by to see the punch.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, oh, come on. You know, it's not,
Yeah.
the demo isn't for the punch. It's not about punching somebody to the body or anything. It's about showing you that you shouldn't be hitting and sticking. You should be hitting and bouncing off, you know.
Yeah.
But that's the physics of it. Yeah, the impulse momentum change theorem, if you want to really look it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't measure
no
a punch by how far back they go. You measure it by how far down they go.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, you know what people miss though on striking is the velocity is more important than the mass.
Yeah.
To a point, you know.
Yeah.
In the same way that it's like, say, a bullet is very low in mass, but travels at such an extreme speed, it does more damage than me throwing a kettlebell at you that weighs significantly more, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, that mass, you know, don't forget, quantity is a quality all of its own, as they will say. You know,
Yeah.
a slow moving truck is still going to kill you because the
mass,
there's no stopping it. Yeah, the smash. But out of the two, you know, that thing hitting you fast will do more damage. I mean, you can argue this stuff, and people will say, no, in the fluid shockwave stuff that we do from, you know, Bruce Siddle and stuff, you hit and you stick. You know, it's been kind of, you can prove it wrong with physics, but if somebody doesn't want to listen to that, you say, well, okay, but at least with the second shot I do, my hand comes back quick for another one. On the first one, it leaves you in that overextended position.
Yeah.
And the second one as well, if I miss, I'm not going to fall over because I'm not depending on the target to hold me up.
Yeah.
So from a tactical point of view, hitting and popping the target is better than hitting and sticking, just from tactics, you know.
Yeah.
Physics as well, but you can argue the physics, but you can't argue the tactics.
Yeah.
The best way of looking at it is, you know, you don't want to do CQB room clearance with a one-shot elephant gun.
Yeah.
You know what? You want a semi-automatic or fully automatic weapon for that one that puts another round in the chamber real quick, because you're going to anticipate having to fire it more than once.
Yeah.
So just on application, you got to pop your shots. But the best way to think about it is like a tennis ball hitting a wall. It doesn't stop. It expends all its energy and uses part of that expended energy to reset itself, come back to bounce off.
Yeah.
If you make your shots do that, you're going to save a lot of effort as well, not pulling your hand back consciously. You know, your hand will reset itself. So it's a bit much to explain, I suppose, on a video podcast kind of thing, but it's something I cover quite extensively in my courses. You know, I've got whole courses about power generation, whole seminars, power generation, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I cover it quite a lot, you know.
Yeah, nice.